Hey everybody, welcome to another Q&A edition. This is your favorite host, Erick, Landon RPG. Why do I even bother saying those stuff? The first goddamn question of today. Do you ever get burned out playing just RPGs? You know, a long time ago I made a video called How to Deal with RPG Burnout. It was partially successful, you know, I think it got like 40,000 views. Usually my vlogs or videos like that, they're like 5-7 minutes short. And I just write random stuff about the topic in mind and add random gameplay footage. Sometimes it matches what I'm saying. Those videos usually get like 6, 8, 10,000 views and that's it. But this one in particular has been one of my most successful vlogs. I don't know how to even call them. I mean, I can't exactly call them vlogs because I'm not there in the video, it's just my voice. Well, those little topic videos, right? And it was very successful. I suggest you check it out. There's a lot of ways that I've come up with over the years to deal with RPG burnout. Thankfully, I haven't reached that point. I've never experienced like real RPG burnout. I've experienced like, okay, right now I want to play something different. And that's exactly what happened, what was it, guys, like 2 weeks ago, I think? Yeah, it was around 2-3 weeks ago. It was 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago when I said, you know what, I'm tired, I want to play something else that's not an RPG. So I played The Last Guardian and reviewed it on my the Q&A from 3 weeks ago, I think. And I haven't uploaded the video on my second channel. I probably won't, because that's the type of reviews and clips and topics most people don't give a shit about. So it's a bit of a waste of time to edit such a video. But yeah, I played The Last Guardian on the PlayStation 4. Amazing game, I loved it. And it was a huge, you know, change of pace for me. So the best advice I can give you is just play a different game, that's it. If you experience RPG burnout, play a different game. Maybe one or two games that are not RPGs. And you'll be back to RPGs in no time, maybe. But if you experience like a hardcore RPG burnout, like you can't take it anymore and you need to get away for months, then do that. Quit RPGs until you feel it's right to go back to them. Bro, who is the best female sidekick? Sidekick? You usually don't see... Oh yeah, you do. Actually, you do. Usually there's the male female cat, the main male character, and then the guy usually has a sidekick. Let's take Persona for example. Okay, Persona 5, the main character is Joker, and his sidekick is fucking Ryuji, which is an idiot. And then the main, but okay, no, wrong example, because Persona games are about choosing your girl. There's no main girl. There's Anne, Makoto, and the others, so wrong choice. Let's take a Tales game, for example. Okay, so there's, I don't know, randomly, Tales of Vesperia came up to my mind right now. Yuri is the main character, Estelle is the female main character, and they both have some kind of sidekick, right? Yuri, his sidekick is Carol, the freaking little guy, and the kid, or repeat, the dog is Yuri's sidekick. And for Estelle, Rita, maybe? I don't know what you mean by female sidekick, man. Is there any physical sport you like? No, not really. I used to do soccer when I was really little. I used to do swimming when I was little too, but I quit sports like 20 freaking something years ago. And I never went back. I don't really like sports. I like working out. I have a bike. A stationary bike, and maybe do some push-ups, but I haven't done anything for the past 3 or 4 months, especially since my mom situation started. She's stable now, so maybe eventually I'll go back to working out, because I lost a lot of weight. What's your favorite music? What the fuck, man? I hate that music, man. Oh man, those genres are my most hated genres, man, of all time. Fucking despise them. Which is probably why you asked. Have you tried out Sea of Stars? No, just the demo. Have you played the translated version of Girl Lancer 6? No, I haven't. I wish I could, but apparently my computer cannot handle PlayStation 2 emulation. Only PS1 games and below that. PS2, I've never been able to make it work here on this laptop. And I have my memory card on my PlayStation 2 original hardware, which is hacked, and I can download ROMs and put them there. And I play a bunch of them, but the Girl Lancer 6 patch doesn't work for my memory card, so I have currently no way to play the translation of Girl Lancer 6. Which is a shame because, you know me, I'm a die-hard fan of that series and I really want to play it. What was the East and Tokyo Xanadu Developers Company? That's Falcom. Nihon Falcom. I've heard some really bad things about Final Fantasy 16, so I'm not really looking forward to getting a PS5 and or getting Final Fantasy 16, but I will someday, maybe in like 10 years, when the PS5 is like $200 finally at long last. Will you talk one day about the Rans series? Holy shit, I've never heard about that series, man. Probably, is that an only in Japan series? I bet it is. Yeah, I'm gonna start uploading more shit to my second channel. You know how I was uploading my old live streams? Not the Q&As, the Let's Plays that I used to do all the way back in 2019 and shit. Well, the fact is that I can't have both of those streams on both channels. I mean, I can't have those streams on both channels. So what I started doing some time ago, earlier this year, was I had to delete them from my main channel in order to be able to upload them to my second channel. Yeah, I had to delete. I can't have the video on both, the same stream on both channels. YouTube said no to that. I talked to them and they said no. You're gonna have to delete it from your main channel if you want to re-upload it on your second channel. Wow. And I was like, man. And I always felt bad. I didn't want to delete them because they're even if they're all unlisted and nobody's watching them anymore. But they're all on the public playlist. If you care, find a playlist on my playlist section of this channel. You can see all of the streams, all of the Let's Plays that I've done. There aren't exactly Let's Plays because I always stream only like the first 2 hours. But there's a lot of games that I have completed in the past and those are public. They aren't unlisted. Ys 8, Chrono Cross, Girl Lancer 6, Fire Emblem, The Blazing Blade, Ys Origin, Dragon's Crown, Cosmic Star Heroine. Those are all public, but most of the others that I never finished, that I only streamed for like 2 hours, are unlisted on this channel. But if I want to re-upload them on my second channel, I have to delete them, and I started doing that. I don't know if you guys remember. I re-uploaded a bunch of them, a bunch of the very first ones that I did all the way back in early 2019. But I just kept feeling like, man, it's just I'm deleting something from my main channel. It's part of my channel's history, so I stopped doing that. And now I've come up with a solution. I think I can re-upload them in parts, like download the stream and then make a few cuts here and there so the algorithm won't notice, and then upload part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4. Most of these are gonna get like, I don't know, 300 views each. I don't care, but I want to put them available to the public on my second channel, so that's what I'm about to do too. And maybe I'll do the same for the old Q&As, because I'm honestly tired of uploading clips. Most of my clips, I don't know, it needs to be something controversial to get a decent amount of views, but most of the clips that I upload on my second channel from my Q&As, kind of like they get like 1,000 views or 1,500 views, and I'm like, man, it's just not worth it. So what I'm gonna do probably is re-upload the Q&As, but in parts as well. Part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. So if you want to watch that, be my guest. If you don't, I don't really care, because my second channel is my second channel. Nothing's gonna change. That's the announcement. Thank you very much for paying attention to it and for caring or pretending to care. Which JRPG do you believe is in need of a remaster the most currently? Probably Xenoblade Chronicles X or Xenogears. Yeah, definitely Parasite Eve is my most anticipated remaster of all time, but it's probably never gonna happen. I don't know why. I get the feeling it'll never happen, but maybe someday, right? Have you ever fully finished the Tales of Destiny 2? Fuck, I missed a lot of questions, guys. Don't be afraid to re-ask them in the chat. Because after all, the purpose of these Q&As is not really to answer questions and feel like a lot of people are asking me questions. Oh, let's inflate my fucking ego. No, it's just to create discussion, to hang out, have a good time. I had a poll for today and I forgot what was the topic that I was gonna ask in the poll. Fuck, I'll remember it. So what was the question? Have you ever fully finished the Tales of Destiny 2, which is currently fully translated in English for PS2? No, I haven't. I didn't know it was currently fully translated, so it's done. Then maybe I will. Hopefully it'll work on my PlayStation 2 because the Growlancer 6 translated patch didn't work. Trails have tons of great sidekicks. In example, Altina. Oh. Okay. Yeah, I've never thought about that. I've never been able to... Not able, I mean, I've never thought about what are my favorite sidekicks, male or female, in JRPGs. I've never thought about that. Judith, that's a good sidekick. Top 3 JRPGs, go? Seriously? Have you played Made in Abyss? No, I haven't, and it's pretty dark, right? Isn't it based on some kind of anime? And it's kind of dark, right? With a bunch of kids. On the surface, it looks like a silly RPG for kids, but it's kind of dark, right? I'd like to play it one day. Favorite Fear Factory song? Oh, that's gotta be Resurrection, Kiss. Resurrection, and I know it on the guitar. You want me to play it? Resurrection, Invisible Wounds. I fucking love that. It's an all-time favorite song from Fear Factory. Final Exit, pretty sad, devastating song. Edge Crusher, I really like it too. What else is there? It's hard to pick when it comes to Fear Factory. But yeah, Resurrection is definitely my favorite. And I know it on the guitar. Growlancer is underrated for the tactical JRPG community? Yeah! The tactical JRPG community knows it. That's why I said it's no longer a hidden gem. But yeah, I'd say it's kind of underrated because not many tactical JRPG fans play it. How are you and your family doing, especially your mom? Hope she's well. Thank you. Thanks a bunch, Evil Alex. She's doing fine, thanks. She's gonna... her recovery is gonna take a lot of time because she's 68 years old and she almost died. So it was pretty bad. So, but thankfully she made it and she's recovering. But she's well, thanks, man, and we're all fine. What do you think about the take from Sega? What take from Sega? Oh, okay, so what's weird is that when Sega is releasing Sonic Superstars, in an interview Sega said that, well, they like 2D pixel art. They also said that the pixel art is not viable in the next 10 years. They said that, what a bunch of fucking idiots. Sega, as always, are a bunch of fucking idiots, man. Most of Rand's games are translated in English. There is 10 games. Oh, holy shit, and 1 remake in the last entry are in development for translation. We have to wait some years. Seriously, I've never heard of that series, man. Thanks for bringing that series up to my attention. Maria Trader, sidekick? I disagree. Maria Trader, in my opinion, is the true protagonist of Star Ocean 3. Fate is just there to follow the trope. Because it's always... Star Ocean games have always like one guy as the main character. A blondie, a blue-haired one, a blondie, a blue-haired one, so on. It's been like that since the first one, right? But if you play Star Ocean 3, everything revolves around Maria. Sorry for the spoiler, that's all I'm gonna say for the people who haven't played that game, but Maria, in my opinion, always felt to me like the true main character. Your last video was pretty useful for upcoming games. I didn't know Decapolis. Yeah, I tried. Of course I had to include some of the popular ones because, let's face it, I am excited for a lot of the really popular upcoming JRPGs. But I tried to include some obscure games that I'm really excited for too, like Cry Machina and Decapolis. And I don't know. I thought a lot of you will appreciate that. I wish I could have included more obscure ones, but I couldn't find a lot that I was really interested in. There's this game that I thought about including in the video called Silent Hope, which is coming out on Switch and PC, not PlayStation, I don't know why. Published by Exceed Games, apparently. But you know what, I watched the trailer and I was like, okay, maybe I'm kinda curious about it, but I'm not, I mean, this doesn't look really exciting or something that I'm dying to play, so yeah. Had to leave out a bunch of obscure ones, and there's also the remake of Front Mission 2, but I didn't include it because I'm just not a fan. I'm a big fan of Front Mission, so I didn't include it. But I would have liked to include more upcoming obscure JRPGs. So thanks. Union Gamer says the same thing. I noticed you checked out the P3R videos revealing content, DLC mechanics. Oh yeah, what are your new impressions? Where my new impressions were said in the video. I don't have a lot of new impressions, I'm just really excited for it. Still sad the epilogue of the answer is not gonna be included. But it's okay, you know. I fucking love the game, man, I can't help it. I'm excited for it, I'm gonna play it. Rants is a role-playing video game series created, developed, and published by Alicesoft. It is the longest-running erotic video game series in history. Oh! No wonder it's a long-running series that's never come out of Japan. You know the West, right? Extreme violence and gore and snuff? That's okay. But erotic? Oh no! No! Thank you, interlocutor. Love the Patreon podcast. Cheers. Thanks, man. It's been a blast. I love making that podcast. I never would have expected to create a podcast because it took me a long time, right? I mean, these Q&A streams are kinda like a podcast, right? They're live. I'm just talking. I'm completely unscripted. But it's also a huge interaction with you guys. It's just a hangout. So I always wanted to do a podcast, and I did one with my friend Oscar for our channel, Discussion Gamer. But it kind of didn't work because he was so busy to work on their schedule, a weekly schedule, or at least a monthly schedule. He couldn't even commit to that. But I always wanted to do my own podcast, just me by myself, but I never did because I thought it was going to be boring. But I've been having a blast, honestly. This podcast is on Patreon. In case you guys are interested, there's a link to it in the description. And also a link to my books. I've been doing pretty well in my books. I remember all the way in March, April, May, no one gave a shit. I sold like 2 books each month, and I was like, man. But for some reason, I think it's probably because I included a very small ad sponsored by my own damn books in 2 or 3 videos that I did last month. And yeah, I've been doing alright in book selling. Well, not alright, I mean, eh. And I hope the people who bought the books, enjoy them. And if you guys are interested, link in the description to all of my books. They're available physical and digital in Amazon.com. Link in the description. This video, what I'm saying is sponsored by Amazon. You know, fuck Amazon. I publish my books in there because there's no other website as profitable and as marketable than Amazon. You know, if I use others, I sell like 1 book a year, and I mean, it's a waste of my time, man. So yeah, link in Amazon, guys. They're also in Mercado Libre if you live in Mexico. They're all there, and they're cheaper than in Amazon, so there you go. Back to your goddamn questions. I know you're all also a Mario fan. What do you think about Super Mario Bros. Wonder? I didn't watch the trailer, the second trailer that was recently announced, but I watched the original, and it looks pretty interesting. I'm a Mario fan, so I'm definitely gonna play it. Why don't you do a podcast like the Wild Project Podcast Jordi Wild? I don't know who those guys are, but my podcast is my podcast, and currently is exclusive to patrons. You are the first person I go to for recommendations. Thanks, Sugoi. Sugoi boy. It might be better to go wide though. Not really. I'm not interested in making a podcast and go wide. I like being exclusive right now and in private because I say a lot of things that are very personal of my personal life, and also things that I know offend people and YouTube doesn't like and the internet doesn't like. So yeah, I'm okay being private right now. If I ever decide to do a public podcast, it's gonna have to be very different. But like I said, you know, I don't see the point in making a public podcast when I have these Q&As. I think it's like, I don't know, similar, right? Suikoden Tear Cry's music in the background. Yes, this is the battle theme from Suikoden Tear Cry's. He said that he loads them onto his PS2, which probably has some homebrew software attached. I forget the name. It's the memory card. Free MacBoot. That's the homebrew software. Free MacBoot. Okay, and it works fine for a lot of ROMs, but others just don't. And it's random. You know, for example, Ys 6, the Ark of Napishtim works just fine. Stella Deus worked fine, but for some reason Wild Arms Alter Code F, the remake, didn't work. The Girl Lancer 6 fan translation didn't work. Namco Cross Capcom worked, and that's a Japanese ROM, so I don't understand. Thank you, Ashoka Tano. To that guy dissing JRPG story in your previous live stream, I will say Western RPG sucks and their stories most of the time woke trash. Well, Japanese RPGs are very slowly starting to get a little bit woke too, but it's hard to tell because Japan has always been very liberal in terms of that. I mean, there's always been like characters from different colors and different races and different sexes. There's always been like gay characters, which are usually very funny since the 80s RPGs, right? But I don't know much about Western RPGs. I barely play them, so I have no opinion on them. But it's always that. It's always been that Western RPG storytelling versus the JRPG storytelling. And you're right, most of the games on both regions are usually the same cliches, the same type of storytelling, the same tropes, kind of like the same plot recycled over and over again, so, or inspired by the classics nowadays. So it's hard to tell which genre really has the best storytelling. I should be a fan of Western RPGs because I usually lean more towards dark and mature storytelling, which is mostly found in Western RPGs. But my problem with Western RPGs isn't the storytelling or the narrative or the characters. It's the gameplay mechanics. I found them really boring, and the graphic style too, and there's something about Western RPGs that usually turns me off. And Japanese RPGs, sure, they can recycle the same fucking plot and story and characters, but at least the gameplay mechanics are usually, you know, way different, more appealing, interesting, more unique, and that's why I prefer JRPGs. But in terms of storytelling, it's kind of hard. I can't really have an opinion on Western RPGs because I've only played like probably 10 in my whole life versus the 500 plus JRPGs I played. Anyway. Did you watch any films or shows recently? Yeah, I've been watching Turn, Washington Spies. It's a historical drama, but it has a lot of fiction, has a lot of things. It's based on a book by Alexander whatever, and he's also the executive producer of the show, one of the executives. So it's a very good show, but you know, historical dramas or historical movies or series, I always take them with a grain of salt. I mean, you know, people love to manipulate history and tell you that that's what happened, when in reality nobody knows what happened, or they're always changing things about characters, especially nowadays. I mean, they're trying to politicize things, and I'm like, that didn't happen. It's like, I'll give you an example, you know. How much racism was there back in the 19th century, the 18th century, and people used the dangerous banned, worldwide banned N-word. And, I mean, back then they used that word a lot, right? And nowadays, you can't say that in movies or in series. Even if you're making a series about the 19th century or slaves back then, you can't use that word. Why not? That's history. I mean, yeah, it's something horrible, but that's fucking history. So, man, you see what I mean? But the show is good. It's politics, it's politicized bullshit, it's kept to a minimum. It's barely woke, and it's a pretty good show. I do recommend it. I don't know where you can watch it though. I'm watching it on Roku channel for free. I get a bunch of ads, but it's free. I don't have to pay like Netflix or Amazon Prime. I don't know if it's available on those streaming services. You might want to look them up, but it's a really good show. I recommend it. And I think the last movie I watched was this really stupid comedy with Robin Williams and Giovanni Ribisi, and who else was there? Holly Hunter. It's a really bizarre comedy about this guy that finds a dead body, and he needs to pay. I don't even remember the plot. He finds this dead body and makes it look like that's his brother, just so he can be able to cash the life insurance policies. I mean, it's a really stupid movie, but Robin fucking Williams, man. I missed a lot of questions, sorry guys. Oh, Ashoka Tano. Again, only Western RPGs I like are Fable 2 and 3. That's weird because most people are fans of the first Fable, not 2 and 3. But okay, original Mass Effect trilogy and the Witcher trilogy. The rest is bad. PS5 isn't good. I'm never buying a Sony product again. Wow, okay, that's a harsh statement. Okay, can you just for the sake of controversy and creating a discussion here with the fans, why do you think the PlayStation 5 isn't good? And why are you never going to buy a Sony product again? While you answer that, you should check out the Dragon Age series. The storytelling in there is really good. Dragon Age Origins is pretty good. I mean, the story is fantastic in there. Dragon Age Inquisition has more cliches, but it's also a really good story. I recommend those games. Western RPGs, Canadian RPGs, Ubisoft, you know, pretty good games. Well, Ubisoft is the developer, the publisher. PS5 is JRPG main system? No, it isn't yet. Hell no. It will be, maybe in the future, maybe in a few years. It'll surpass the PlayStation 4, but right now, no way is it the king of... What do you think about the price increase in all PS Plus subscriptions? I've never paid a single penny for any PS Plus in my life, so I have no opinion. But we all knew eventually it was going to go up. The Switch Online, it's also freaking expensive nowadays, and it's gonna keep going like that because they want to turn everything digital nowadays. How will you prioritize which game to play first if they come out within a few days of each other? For example, Persona 3 Reload comes out one day after Granblue Fantasy Relink. Which will start first? I can't answer that because if I don't get a review code for those games, I'm not gonna play them because I'm not gonna pay $70 fucking for any of those games. Okay, so I'm just gonna wait for the price to drop and maybe I'll get them. Dude, it's been, what, 8 months since Fire Emblem Engage came out and I still haven't played it. So, yeah. But to answer that question, I have another example. I got review codes about a month ago for Monochrome Mobius and Rhapsody, the Marl Kingdom Chronicles, which are 2 games, Rhapsody 2 and 3, also known as Puppet Princess in Japan. And I got them at the same time. And I was like, man, so how am I going to prioritize this? I'm just gonna pick, plain and simple, I'm just gonna pick the game that I want to play the most. And that was Monochrome Mobius. Now that I finished that game last week, I've gotten into Rhapsody. I started with the second one. And I'm 7 hours in, I was playing it this morning. And I'm really enjoying it. But, I mean, I know for a fact what I like. And I know Monochrome Mobius is a game that I wanted to play way more than Rhapsody too. So, while I'm probably not gonna get those 2 games, Persona 3 Reload and Granblue Fantasy Relink, on launch. If I could, Actually, I will play Grand Blue Fantasy Verse Relink. Why? Because that's a new game. And Persona 3, even if it's a remake, I already played it. I already know the story. I already know what happens. And yes, I'm gonna be very excited to play it, but I will play Grand Blue Fantasy Relink first because that's the new game that I've never played. PSP or Switch for JRPGs? Well, I have a lot of nostalgia for PSP. It's kind of hard for me to answer that question. I think I like the Switch more. I don't know if you watched my top 10, which is called Top 10 Best Consoles for JRPGs. And Switch was above, so it looks like I like the Switch a little bit more. But I have a lot of nostalgia for the PSP. PSP was my best friend. Also the Nintendo DS when I was in my store. Somebody asked a long time ago, what is your favorite genre besides JRPGs? Sugoi boy, that's fighting games. I love fighting games. I'm also a big fan of environmental puzzle games, especially the 2D environmental puzzle games, which are also platformers. But yeah, fighting games is my second favorite video game genre. Hey, Inane Dreams. Mass Effect is better than Dragon Age. That's your opinion, man. Van or Tidus? Tidus. I mean, Van is like, man, the bottom of the barrel. Kiss. Tidus, definitely. The movie you're talking about is called The Big White. Yeah, that's the movie with Holly Hunter and Robin Williams, Giovanni Ribisi, Tim Blake, motherfucking Nelson is also there, and Alison Lohman, I think that's her name. Have you ever ran out of RPGs to play? No, and I doubt I ever will. Yeah, we were talking about the Growlancer 6. Oh, there was... Okay. There was a recent update for the fan translation of Growlancer 6. Oh, an update? What do you mean with update? Is it an update for the ROM to work on my memory card? Or what kind of update? Do you experience FOMO in video games? What the hell is FOMO? FOMO. What's that, man? Rhapsody PS1. Yes, the sequels are... They stayed in Japan. Rhapsody is a series. It's a trilogy of games, but we only got the first one on the PlayStation 1 and later on the Nintendo DS. But we never got its sequels until last week on the Nintendo Switch, PS5, and Windows. And this second entry it hasn't disappointed me. It's pretty good. I recently noticed that Trails into Reverie, there's a PS5 upgrade became available, but the downside is your PS4 save data can't be transferred over. What? Then what's the point? What the hell, Falcom? What? I mean, what? That's fucking stupid, man. Why would you upgrade? Then forget about the PlayStation 4. Just get a PS5, buy Trails into Reverie on the PS5, and that's it. Why would you want an upgrade? I mean, Falcom. Oh, man. That's a dumb decision. Any option about shot switch cartridges lifespan? What? Shot switch cartridges lifespan? What do you mean shot? Explain that to me. Have you watched The Elephant Man? Yes, I did, Kiss. It's one of my least favorite David Lynch movies because it's a standard movie. You understand everything. It's a linear plot. There's some bizarre and absurd stuff in there. I liked it, but it's one of my least favorite movies from David Lynch. You asked that already. I've never run out of RPGs to play. Fear of missing out. That's what FOMO means? Okay, so what was the question from this person? Do you ever experience fear of missing out on video games? Ah, okay, I get it. Okay, so yeah, I kinda do, because, not much really, but I kinda do because sometimes I'm that kind of person that doesn't believe in buying games at launch, because eventually everything goes down in price. So I've been like this since I was a teenager buying games. I always wait, right? And I am in no hurry to buy video games or play them. I've never been. That is until I became a YouTuber, and that is until I started doing this channel for a living. So when that started happening and I started getting more into reviews and getting review codes and paying way more attention to upcoming JRPGs, I started worrying about that. I became fear of missing out. I became afraid to miss out on some games. But you know what? If I really want to play a game, I will at some point. I probably won't miss out. There's gonna be the day when I'll finally be able to play Fire Emblem Engage or Final Fantasy 16. You know, eventually, if I really want to play something, I get to it. And if I miss out on something for good or forever, it's probably because I was never really that interested on it in the first place. But yeah, I mean, Kiss just brought up a good comeback to that. Some games get rare and hard to find. That's true. If we wait too long, they get rare. Blue Reflection 1 is one perfect example. You know, I waited on Dead End Request 2 for this long, and at least I got a review code and I finally played it. But now I can't find the game physically anywhere, right? So he's right, that's another problem. I mean, I actually fear on missing out on physical versions of games that I want. But missing out on something to play? Not really. I do fear, I'm afraid of missing out on a game that I'll probably never be able to play, but it's rare. But my biggest fear is that I didn't buy a game when it was like $40 and I waited and I keep waiting, or $20 or $35. I don't know. For example, recently the DioField Chronicle on the PlayStation 4, which is the version that I want to collect, because I only have that game digital, I want it physical, and it dropped to $26 US. And I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna keep waiting. Let's see if it's 20. Maybe it will, because it came out on different consoles. It's a Square Enix game, and it didn't sell very well, and the reviews were mixed. So usually those types of games published by big companies like Square Enix, they go down in price until 20. They drop till 20. I know that. I've seen it before with many games, but what if it doesn't? What if that fucking version, PS4 version, goes up in price and never comes down? That's what I'm afraid of. That's my fear. My biggest fear of missing out, it's not missing out on playing something new. It's on collecting something that I really want. And I missed the perfect example, like I said, is Dead End Request 2. I don't think it'll ever go down in price, and I fucked up, you know, I never bought it when I had the chance. Good question, man, thanks for asking. Switch cartridges should last 10 years under normal conditions if you store them properly. Okay, so what do I think about that? I think that if you store them properly, they'll work for more. I mean, come on, man, we got Atari cartridges that still work nowadays, because a lot of people store them properly. So all you gotta do is store them properly. Keep them clean and safe inside their boxes. I'm never worried because emulation will always be an option. Amen. That right there, man. Well said. Have you ever played the Drakengard trilogy by any chance? Yes, I have. The first one, I really wanted to like it because it's such an amazing story, dark as fuck and very incorrect story. I wish I could play a fan-translated version of the original Japanese script, because the English localization was censored as fuck. All to take care of the sensitivity of the beautiful Americans. But the gameplay, man, it's just those controls, that camera, it's pretty bad. The second one was better. The second game, Drakengard 2, was better in terms of gameplay and camera. I liked it way more. but the story felt weaker this time, like it wasn't as dark and as fucked up. And later I found out that Yoko Taro didn't write the story, so there you go. And then Drakengard 3 came out, which is my favorite out of the three. The gameplay is better in Drakengard 2, ironically, but in here, I don't know, I just love it. I fucking love the characters, I love the humor, I love the story, I love everything about it. Sure, the dragon missions are bad, like fucking bad, man, but that's, I mean, I still like the fucking game. So while I'm not the biggest fan of the Drakengard trilogy, I am a big fan of Drakengard 3. And I'm a big fan of Nier. Trails in the Sky. Yeah, one of the battle themes. I think it's one of the boss battle themes. Strepitoso whatever. How many hours do you spend a week on average playing video games? I think depends on the game. If I'm really addicted to the game, I could easily put probably 20 hours, easily 20 hours a week. But if the game is something that I'm loving it, but I'm not addicted to it, I only usually play a couple of hours per day, and that's it. So I'd say about 10 to 15 hours, most likely. So in conclusion, I'd say my average gameplay time weekly is 15 hours. How do you feel about Star Ocean 2 remake? I'm pretty excited for it. It looks freaking beautiful. I'm a big fan of HD 2D graphic style. So yeah, I'll probably get to it one of these days. Most overrated and most underrated JRPG of all time. Most overrated nowadays, definitely Dark Souls, in my opinion. Because I don't like it, not because it's bad, it's because I just don't like it. And most underrated JRPG of all time, that's a good one. Usually the first game that comes into mind when I see the term underrated is Eternal Sonata. PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Severely underrated. That game is a masterpiece and it should have been a worldwide critically acclaimed masterpiece and it wasn't. Yeah, but as overrated as Dark Souls is, in my opinion, you can't take away the fact that it's a very, very influential motherfucker. That's the truth, and that's an objective statement, that's not an opinion. It is a very influential game, whether you like it or not. But I don't fucking like it. Strepitosa Fight. Yeah, that's right. Between Grandia franchise storytelling, which do you like the most? I think the best story is in Grandia 2. Grandia 3 is my favorite game in the series, but I think that Grandia 2 had the better storytelling. It was more interesting, with an unusual protagonist and an unusual female protagonist too. There you go. Have you bought Octopath Traveler 2? No, I think it's on... The PS4 version has been on sale for quite some time. I think I saw it for 710 Mexican pesos, which is the equivalent nowadays of $40. I'm waiting for the price to drop a little bit more. I bought Pandora's Tower but never played it. I recall it being part of Operation Rainfall along with Xenoblade and the last story. It was, and Pandora's Tower, if you like motion controls, you're gonna love it. It's very good, it's a very good game. But if you don't like motion controls, forget about it. I never finished that game because of the motion controls. I don't like them. So I got to the second boss of the game and I never got past it because I just got tired of, being there like an idiot moving the controller around, and I was like, man, fuck this shit. Now every game has to be harder than normal just because of Dark Souls. Not only that, that's not, one of the biggest issues that I see in the modern video game industry, especially when it comes to RPGs, is a topic that I've complained about several times before, and that's, I don't think most developers know how to make their games hard or challenging. All they do is add a bunch of random difficulty spikes, massive difficulty spikes, or they just put a lot of HP in their enemies because they have no fucking clue how to make a game challenging and fun at the same time. So that's a big problem. But I don't know if the Dark Souls influence has a lot to do with that. But yeah, it's pretty accurate to say that a lot of video games nowadays have taken on the Souls influence and are hard as fuck for no other reason than to be inspired by dark fucking Souls. And I kind of agree with that statement, you know. I miss the era when video games were more balanced than nowadays. I just don't understand, you know, but it's a matter of perspective. Someone says in the chat that Souls did a lot of good for the industry. It's a matter of opinion, you know. It did. We can't deny that Miyazaki and his Soul series did something for the video game industry. It influenced the video game industry. That's a fact. Whether that influence was positive or negative, that's when it starts breaking down in people's opinions. Okay, in my opinion, it didn't do anything good. It kind of hurt the video game industry, but that's just my opinion. If you guys think that Souls did something good, that's totally respectable. You know, that's your opinion. That's okay. But to be completely honest, I think it hurt the video game industry. A lot of people, like this other guy was saying, a lot of developers are making their games inspired by Souls, and I don't like them. But there's always that solution. I mean, if you don't like those games influenced by Souls, don't play them. And that's it. There's a shit ton of games from all genres, including RPGs, that are not influenced by Souls and are still fantastic to play nowadays. So just, you know, let people love the Souls series and their Souls influenced games, and let people who don't like them be. That's it. And that's that about the Souls series. Did I make enough time for it to be a clip on my second channel? Probably. Maybe. Or, if it's not inspired by Dark Souls, it's inspired by the classics. Typical Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest. Everything is an inspiration and a love letter to anything nowadays. No, that's not true. There's a lot of games still being released nowadays that are... I mean, take a game like, I don't know, randomly, Crystar. Have you guys played Crystar? I mean, is that a love letter to anything? No, it's its own game. I mean, games like that are still being released. Fuga Melodies of Steel 1 and 2. Shin Megami Tensei, the Shin Megami Tensei games are an influence of each other. I mean, it's Shin Megami Tensei. I mean, come on, man, there's a lot of games, a lot of RPGs nowadays that are like their own thing. There's still a lot of originality nowadays. I think a lot of people say that nowadays modern JRPGs aren't original. Sure, some of them are not. They're just inspired by the classics, or inspired by Souls, or inspired by Persona, or blah blah blah. But there's also a lot of JRPGs nowadays that aren't inspired by anything, or inspired by several things at once, which makes them original, right? This music from Decap Attack. Fucking love it, man. Love that music. Did you ever play Dust, an Elysian Tale? Isn't that one of the very first indie RPGs ever made, done by one guy for Microsoft Studios? I haven't. I know the game, but I haven't. Erick, are you gonna play Sea of Stars? Maybe, if the price is right. I mean, I'm not gonna play it right now. The publisher, whoever published that game, didn't reach out, so I'm not gonna play it. You looking forward to Ether Knights? Nah, not really. I mean, I saw it's an action RPG where you control this guy and then you go on dates with girls. But, I'm curious about it. I'd like to play it, but I'm not really looking that forward to it. I'm curious about it mostly because it looks kind of dark. Like, it will have some psychological themes. I heard it was developed by one guy only. One guy that used to go by the name of FKK Cloud. I made my research because I was about to include that game on my upcoming JRPGs video. But I didn't because it's not really a JRPG. It's developed by one guy and I don't even know where this guy is from. I think it's from the US because he has a YouTube channel and the YouTube channel is from the United States of America. So yeah, maybe the guy is, I mean, that's an American RPG. An ARPG, a US RPG. But yeah, I'm not really looking forward to it, but maybe I will someday, I don't know. You can disagree all you want, evil Alex. It's not gonna change my mind. Do you think slow? Again with that question, man. Lost Soul aside, I have no idea what kind of game that is. I mean, let me look it up. Let's end this. What the fuck is Lost Soul aside? Alright. It looks like it's gonna be an action RPG on PC, PS4, and PS5. And the developer is Ulti0 Games, and it's gonna be published by Sony. Okay, interesting. And it's developed by just one guy, Bing Yang. That sounds Chinese, so is this a Chinese game? Let me look at some images. This looks like Final Fantasy 15. The character design, I mean. Yeah, it looks alright, looks interesting, it looks dark, looks mature. Looks like there's some kind of Code Vein influence too. So is this another Souls inspired game? If it is, then I'm probably not gonna play it. Oh well, yeah. Souls genre led to the development of Code Vein, and I know you liked it. Yeah, but I would have preferred the game not to be that stupidly hard, you know. What music is this? I think this is from Crusader of Senti. Crusader of Senti. Which Final Fantasy had the best ending? You know what? I'm gonna go with Final Fantasy IX. I'm probably biased because it's my favorite Final Fantasy in the series, but it's just... I mean... I cried at the end, okay? I mean, yeah. It's probably not the best ending, but that's my favorite. Wow, Ashoka Tano, thanks a bunch, man. He says, I hated Dragon Age. Oh, sorry about that. As for Sony, I'm not buying any products from them again. I can't stand Sony censorship. Oh, fuck, man, I agree with that. There are double standards when it comes to Japanese games. Also, I see Sony going out of business in 5 years. Wow. I don't know if they'll be out of business in 5 years. I don't know about that. I don't think so. But that censorship double standards, I fucking hate that too, man. I hate that about. That's the one thing I hate about PlayStation. I despise that too. I mean, they're a bunch of fucking hypocrites, and they know that, and the world knows that, man. Man, fuck those guys, you know, you're right about that. That's why I'm not buying a PS5 either. What happened to Tokyo RPG Factory? What happened is that, okay, I Am Setsuna sold well enough to merit another game, which was called Lost Sphere, so Square Enix greenlighted those two games. They said, okay, you know, I Am Setsuna sold pretty well, so go ahead, make another game. Lost Sphere sold well, Setsuna sold more, but Lost Sphere was still decent in terms of sales, so Square Enix said, nice, so we're making money, man, so make another game. So along came Oninaki, an action RPG, which was fantastic, by the way. I think it's the best game. In terms of story, it's the best game out of the three. And it was a commercial failure. So right now, if you go to Wikipedia and read a little bit about that, about Tokyo RPG Factory, you're gonna find arguments stating that Probably Tokyo RPG is not gonna be there anymore, or it's probably gonna merge with other studios, I don't know. But Square Enix said, okay, so Oninaki failed? What now? I mean, it's not like Setsuna and Lost Sphere sold millions, you know, so... And you know Square Enix standards, if something doesn't sell millions, they give it up. So, I'm afraid to speculate that Tokyo RPG Factory is no more, or it's still there, but Square Enix doesn't know what the fuck to do with it. I'm afraid. I like that studio, man. I like every single one of their games. Those 3 games were fantastic. I love them. I'm a big Tokyo RPG Factory fan, so I don't want to see it die. But if it's not profitable anymore, I don't know what's gonna happen. I think the problem is that this is only speculation on my behalf too. This is not what happened. This is what I think might have happened. Is that, you know, Square Enix, they want to turn everything into action RPGs. So Tokyo RPG Factory developed 2 turn-based RPGs, which were partially successful. And then they told them, nah, turn-based is dead, so make an action RPG. And oh boy, look what happened. Oninaki, fantastic game, but maybe the change from turn-based to action hurt Tokyo RPG Factory. So I don't know, maybe Square Enix is gonna tell them, hey, why don't you go back to turn-based, or make a strategy RPG now and see what happens. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I hope Tokyo RPG Factory comes back. It doesn't matter the genre, I'm gonna play their fucking game. Are you interested in Armored Core 6? No. Do you think Chrono Trigger is the best RPG of all time? No, it isn't. The best RPG of all time is your favorite. I have my favorite, which is Chrono Cross. That to me is the best RPG of all time. Now, is Chrono Trigger the most influential RPG of all time? Pretty damn close. Top 3. Definitely top 3 most influential RPGs of all time. Chrono Trigger, Dark Souls 2, as much as we hate it, influential motherfucker. And the original Dragon Warrior, the original Final Fantasy, how can you top that? They laid the basis for every single JRPG we know today. Sure, those games probably wouldn't exist without Wizardry and Ultima, which are Western RPGs, which were the beginning of role-playing games as we know them, but those are Western RPGs. When it comes to JRPGs, you can't beat Dragon Warrior, Final Fantasy, Phantasy Star, Fire Emblem, Shin Megami Tensei, well, I mean, Megami Tensei. Speaking about Megami Tensei, the music right now. Ys, the original Ys. But when it comes to Western RPGs, yeah, Ultima, Wizardry, Elder Scrolls, Diablo, there you go. I want to see a sequel or a prequel to Oninaki. I doubt it's gonna happen. I don't think that's gonna happen. Never. Do you test your game collection to check if they're still working once in a while? No, that takes a lot of time. I'm pretty sure I at least own something that doesn't even work anymore, or that needs some kind of cleaning up. Probably. But I'm pretty sure most of my disc-based collection, PlayStation 1, GameCube, Wii, you know, I'm pretty sure all of them still work. But I don't know. I don't do that. Maybe I should do that. I'm not gonna play another Eden unless it comes to consoles. You recommend Sea of Stars. Yeah, I really like the demo. The demo, I mean, I love the demo. I think it was like an hour long and the boss fight was awesome. The boss battle theme was amazing. I'll play Sea of Stars. I'll get to it. And I'll also get to Chained Echoes eventually. I will. Master Detective Archives Raincode is my game of the year so far. Is that the game from the Danganronpa game? Yeah, it is. Yes. I'm interested in that game. I'll probably play it eventually too. Do you like games with dating sim elements? Yes, I do. I love Persona. I love Sakura Wars. Mimana ER Chronicle has a dating sim. I don't remember it. I mean, the game's a harem. There's a guy and there's 4 girls. I mean, the Grow Lancer series games also have endings like that, but you don't exactly date in those games, right? Or maybe, no way, you do. In Ground Answer 4 you do. You do have dates with the girls. There you go. Persona and Sakura Wars are among my favorites with dating sim elements. Pierre Solar and the Great Architects. I have never played it, but I want to. I know it's on the Genesis, and I will. I just keep forgetting to download the ROM. Do you know any updates on Suikoden Remaster or Eiyuden Chronicles? Yes, and I talked about those updates on my video from 2 days ago, the top 15 upcoming JRPGs. Do you watch Let's Play videos? No, not really. There were little moments in between where you bond with the characters and you get an ending based on the girl you spend the most time with. Oh yeah, in Mimana, yeah, you're right, that happens, yeah. I like that. I think I wanted to get an ending with, not Sophie, the girl with the glasses. She was my favorite, the mage. I love that character, man. Brown hair, long hair, I love her. Ever played Beyond the Beyond? Yes, I did, and I never finished it. Never really got far into it. Didn't quite like it. I thought it was pretty generic. And then I got to this puzzle early in the game, and you can't leave, and you can't do anything. You get stuck if you don't solve the puzzle. So I was like, fuck it, man. Are you interested in the North American release of Cry Machina? Why did you specifically ask about the North American release? I mean, of course I'm interested in Cry Machina. It was featured in my video from 2 days ago. But why are you asking specifically about the North American release? Is there something different about it? Hello from South Africa. Thanks, man. Really hoping for a Breath of Fire collection one day on PS4. Oh man, me too. I made a video a long time ago about JRPG collections we need. I might remake that video one of these days. Breath of Fire is definitely gonna be there. Sophia, I think her name was? No, so Sophie, there's Sophie. And Sophie is the one, the main character, the little girl who hires Craze at the beginning. I mean, I can't... What's her name? It starts with an... I think it's Meredith? No. Mimana Chronicle Characters. Melrose! Melrose. I love her. Favorite character in the game. Gonna pick up Ether Knights? No, I don't think so. But developer and or publisher, if you're watching this stream, feel free to reach out with a review code. I just wish there will be a Valkyrie Profile 3 from Square Enix, but I highly doubt it. You know what? Because... okay. At the beginning I thought that Valkyrie Elysium is supposed to be a reboot. Like a new arc. Not new arc, like a new series. Like Valkyrie Profile was that. But Valkyrie Elysium kind of failed in both sales and reviews. Very mixed reviews, and the sales weren't that high. So either the Valkyrie series is now dead for good, or Square Enix will see that and enter reason and reach out to Tri-Ace and let them finally at long last develop Valkyrie Profile 3. I just fucking hope it won't be an action RPG. I hope it's a turn-based RPG, kind of experimental like the first two games were, but still kind of turn-based in somehow, right? I mean, isn't that what we all want? What do you think about Castlevania series? I'd love to get into the Castlevania series one day, but I don't really like the gameplay mechanics of any of them. I find them very difficult. I kind of suck at action games of all types, even platformers. So I've never been able to get into the Castlevania series. I have nightmares from when I was a little kid, dying over and over in Castlevania 1 and 3. No, it was just the first one. Yeah, it was the first one. And then Simon's Quest came into my life, and and then I played a Symphony of the Night, and I liked it. Maybe that's the one that'll bring me into the Castlevania series once and for all. Lord of Shadows. Never played it. Isn't that the God of War clone? What do you consider the best console for collecting JRPGs? Fuck. The PlayStation 4. I wish I could say the PS2, but most of its JRPGs have gone up in price already, and it's no longer an affordable console to collect JRPGs for. It's still pretty fun to collect for the PS2 if you collect all different genres, but JRPGs, I mean, the time is up. It's over. Most JRPGs on the PS2 are expensive nowadays. So my answer to your question is the PlayStation 4. It's so fun, and it's the best console to collect JRPGs for. You say Yuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. Okay, wait. One of your most anticipated games of 2024. It now is. It's not one of my most anticipated. It's the most anticipated of them all. The marketing was awful for Valkyrie. Thank goodness it was, because the game isn't that good. It's just a generic action hack and slash game. That game is an insult to Valkyrie profile, man. Games that have taken a decade or more to try them since they were released, and you enjoy them. Yeah, I mean, I think the last game, what was the last old game that I played that's over a decade old? I'm not sure. I think the oldest that I played was Ever Oasis, about 6 months ago, but it's like that game came out like 6 or 7 years ago, and it's not that old. And then I finished the Mercenary Saga 2, also on the 3DS. I think those are the oldest games that I've played this year. It's just I get so busy with review codes and new games that I'm starting to overlook old games that I never finished, whether they're on my collection or not. So maybe one of these days I should go back to those. Something from the PlayStation 1 era or the Super Nintendo. Somebody was asking about Pierre Solar on the Genesis, which isn't that old, but it's over 10 years old, right? Yeah, because of this YouTube channel, I need to constantly play new games, and you know, I'm starting to overlook the old ones. But they're always in my mind, and I'm still making content based on old JRPGs, whether I finish them or not. When do you think we'll get Dragon Quest XII? Probably next year. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be next year. Because Square Enix just released Final Fantasy XVI, so that's out of the window. Out of the, what's the expression? That's out of the way. And then Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 will at long last be out of the way on February, I think, next year. So what's next? Dragon Quest XII. I'm pretty sure we'll get that game next year. I get the feeling we will. Did you play both Ni no Kuni games, and if you did, which do you have a higher preference for? I didn't like the first one at all. I didn't like the battle mechanics, and I just didn't like that, ruined it for me. But I did like Ni no Kuni 2. I never finished it, but I did like it, so I prefer that way more. Would you consider the Shenmue series to be a JRPG series? Same with the Yakuza series. No, not really, because they don't feel like JRPGs to me, but they have a lot of RPG elements. So whenever somebody tells them that those games are RPGs, I don't argue. I'm still on the fence, but I don't argue because I see the RPG elements in those games. But I don't consider them as JRPGs. Me personally. What is the best strategy RPG to start with? Fire Emblem series excluded. I tried getting into Agarest War. No. Oh man, bad idea. Those games are really fucking hardcore. Bad start, man. Okay, so I made a video. Top 10 strategy RPGs for beginners. Check it out. Right now, off the bat, you know, I can recommend games like Vandal Hearts. I hope it's not too hardcore for you. I don't think it's gonna be. Vandal Hearts is a good place to start. Sakura Wars on the Wii and PS2, but if you don't emulate, you're gonna have a hard time finding that game. It's expensive on both consoles and kind of hard to find. Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, I'm not sure because I barely played it. The original Final Fantasy Tactics and Tactics Ogre are fucking hardcore too, so no. Triangle Strategy has an easy mode. I think it's also hardcore, but the easy mode is pretty balanced. I felt the easy mode to be more normal than easy, so there you go, maybe that could work. The Mercenary Saga games, sure they're easy as hell, but they're kind of generic. Maybe. Check out that video, man. What is the hardest JRPG? I don't know, man. The hardest JRPG I've ever played in my life is probably Natural Doctrine, man. Or what else is there that's really stupidly hard? Metal Maxino Reborn was fucking impossible. But yeah, Natural Doctrine is up there. What else? Bloodborne. Bloodborne is harder than any Souls game. I felt it to be way harder. I remember making more progress in Demon Souls than in Bloodborne. I don't know, man. That's a tough question, but no way, I think Demon Souls is harder. But I'm not a Souls fan, so my opinion doesn't matter. Yeah. Natural Doctrine is really fucking hard. The original Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne on the PS2, the original version, pretty hard too. Resonance of Fate, never got into it because of its difficulty curve. And I didn't like the battle mechanics. Fire Emblem Thracia 776 never came out of Japan. And it's fan translated, if you want to get into it. That's fucking brutal, man. That's just ridiculously hard. It's broken. Do you speak Spanish? Sí, señor, claro que sí, hablo español. Es mi idioma natal. What is the most unconventional JRPG ever? Natural Doctrine! Resonance of Fate, Nights in the Nightmare. I made two videos. One of them is called Top 10 Most Unique JRPGs Ever. And I made one called Top 10 Most Complex JRPGs Ever. Be sure to check those videos out. Langrisser 1 and 2 is quite hard. Yeah, but they have easy modes and normal modes. If you play those games on easy or normal, they're pretty good for beginners, you know. The remakes! Do not start with the original Genesis versions. Those games are fucking hardcore, man. Play the remakes on PS4, Switch, and Steam. The very first Hyperdimension game is quite challenging. Oh yeah, those games are really hard. Usually compile hard RPGs go fucking stupidly hard, man, most of them. I remember the first Fairy Fencer. Well, Fairy Fencer 2 is a good example. The first Fairy Fencer, I remember I had to grind a hell of a lot close to the end. Yeah, man, compile hard RPGs, the Hyperdimension Neptunia series, those are hard games. Shin Megami Tensei 4 was pretty hard too. Tactics Ogre is very hard if you try to beat it without grinding. I see what you did there, man. You can't grind in that game because there's a level cap. Do you think it's easier for Hispanics to get into JRPGs due to how anime were distributed in the 80s and 90s? No. Have you ever played Rainbow Moon? Yes, I played the first one and it was pretty boring. I didn't think it was a bad game. I didn't like it. Can you say hidden trash? I just did. Have you tried Lore of Arcana? Yes, on the PSP. That's a really hard game, man. that's a bit of a, yeah, like a monster hunter type of game, like you go and hunt monsters. Reminded me of Ragnarok Odyssey. That's all you do in that game, fight big bosses that are stupidly hard. That's a pretty good game and the soundtrack is really good. Well, I don't like the Hyperdimension Neptunia series. I don't like the humor. I find it stupid, doesn't make me laugh, and I wish the protagonists were the girls already transformed than the little fucking lolies from middle school. I mean, no, man. Fairy Fencer was easy at the beginning. You probably didn't finish it, or you're probably one of those people who don't want to admit games are hard. Like, oh sure, I found a way to exploit it, I broke the game and now it's easy. Oh yeah, it's easy. Sure, dude. What JRPGs do you think offer the most freedom? Well, open world games, man. Any open world RPG is bound to be that. Do you listen to music or podcasts while grinding in JRPGs? No. I listen to the games themselves. Now that you mentioned difficulties in JRPGs or games in general, which difficulty do you go for? I always play on normal, no matter what. But I always have a lot of problems in action games, not just RPGs, any kind of action game. So if I start feeling that the game's gonna be grindy or too difficult for me, I always move to easy, change to easy. But the rest of the games, turn-based RPGs, strategy RPGs, normal all the way. Everything gets censored in the West, except for very sexualized lolis. No, even lolis get censored, believe it or not, especially nowadays. In fact, a lot of JRPGs in the past stayed in Japan because of the sexualized lolis. Or girls in general. So, but yeah, but nowadays there is less censorship. More like, no, there's still a lot of censorship, but more acceptance to the loli thing in Japan, from Japan. Especially on the Switch. Usually nowadays, and very ironically, the Switch versions are the ones with less censorship. Have you played Trinity Universe? Yes! On the PlayStation 3. That's a crossover. Has characters from Atelier and Disgaea. It's a pretty good game, but the fact that they give you a time limit to beat the dungeons is kind of annoying. If you could do a remake or a sequel for a game that might never get either in a million years, like Valkyrie Profile 3? Grow Lancer 7. Definitely. Devil Survivor 3. That's a sequel I want. But a remake, I'd like a remake of the very first Grow Lancer. And please bring it overseas, don't stay in Japan. A remake of the first Grow Lancer, man. Yeah, the Crossbelt Police theme from Trails from Zero, I fucking love it. Or a new Chrono game, that's what we all want, don't we? It doesn't matter if you are on the trigger side or on the cross side. Can we all agree we want a new Chrono game? Not a mobile game, not a gacha free-to-play bullshit, a brand new game in the series. Turn-based, please, Square fucking Enix. Nemo Propaganda, my man, how are you? He says, hope your mom is doing better. She is, thankfully. I'm gonna see her today. Do you have any interest in Armored Core 6? Or it's that too different? It's not about it being different. It's just I don't really like mech games. I like RPGs with mechs. You know, like Vanguard Bandits, the Xenoblade series, the Xeno series, Super Robot Tyson. But when it comes to action games where you control a giant robot, not my type of game really. I played Armored Core. I think it was on the PlayStation 2, not sure which one, and I didn't like it. So I have zero interest in Armored Core. I'm excited for Star Ocean 2 remake or remaster. It's a remake. It's called a remake when the game is done from scratch. A remaster is using the same game and polishing it, make it look better. That's what a remaster is. But a remake is a game that they created from scratch, from zero. That's a remake. So the Star Ocean 2 remake is a remake. Have you ever quit a game because of too much fan service? No, I don't think so. Never. Fan service never makes me quit on a game. It makes me take the stories less seriously. Sometimes they're trying to be very fucking serious, like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 or the God Eater trilogy. And I'm like, man, okay, sure, this dramatic emotional moment, and they're making shots of the girl's tits or ass. And I'm like, oh, am I supposed to be emotional right now? Or be like, oh, Yeah, I mean, but fan service has never made me quit a game. Quite the opposite. What do you think of the state of JRPGs this year? Nothing wrong with it. Several JRPGs have been released. Most of them pretty damn good. Nothing wrong with this year. The state is good. But the state, like I said before, very, very slowly they're starting to get politicized too. And I don't like that. No, I haven't talked about Sea of Stars. I talked about it in a video. I covered the demo. I reviewed the demo in a video called 5 RPGs I Need to Talk About, Part 3. Check it out. But I haven't played the game yet, just the demo. Do you think Masato Kato finished the Chrono Break script? No, obviously he didn't. I don't think he ever did. What's your favorite aspect from RPGs and JRPGs? Probably the gameplay mechanics. I can say the music, or maybe the storytelling, or maybe the fan service. But I think the gameplay mechanics, I'm always interested in seeing what battle system RPGs are gonna have. And I have no preference, I can take a freaking complicated, hard to get into battle system, or I can just enjoy a generic turn-based combat or hack and slash. I have no preference. So I think the one thing that I like the most about JRPGs is the battle mechanics. They are the soul of a video game, because the stories are stories and they're just that. Story is probably my second most important aspect to me, or probably the first one too. But I've beaten several JRPGs in the past with bad stories, with stupid stories, and I still love them, So I think the gameplay mechanics is probably, what I pay attention to the most. What do you think about the true ending of Tales of Exilia 2? Well, I don't want to discuss that because it's a spoiler, but it's pretty dark. What do you mean, how much of a time investment is the Dragon Quest series? I mean, you're talking about one of the oldest RPG series of all time, with tons of mainline games, 11 so far, and a million spin-offs. So I'd say it's an investment of a lifetime, man. Do you think the 2 Koronoki Seki games will come out in 2024? I think only the first one will come out in 2024, not the second one. Definitely not the second one. The first one, probably. It is very likely we'll get that game next year. Do you play Western RPGs? Not really, no. Also, what JRPGs do you think have the best dating sim mechanics? Well, nothing can beat the Persona games. So we were talking about these like half an hour ago. Sakura Wars, great dating sim. Your favorite video games? What do you mean your favorite video games? That's a long ass question, man. I mean, what? Do you think I only have like 1 or 2? Well, actually I do. Chrono Cross is my favorite video game of all time. Valkyrie Profile 2 Silmeria, my second one. Grow Lancer Heritage of Wars, my third one, definitely. I'm also a big fan of Suikoden and Fire Emblem, all of them. Will you be skipping Baldur's Gate 3, I'm assuming? Yeah, I'm not sure if it's turn-based. I didn't know that. Now I'm interested. I won't be skipping Baldur's Gate 3 then. but we'll see. I hate Wasteland. The second game is horrible, man. I hated that game. I never played the others though. The first one or the third one, maybe they're better, but Wasteland 2... Oh man, I hated that game. Horrible, in my opinion. What PSP or Vita only RPG would you like to see on the big console remaster or remake? How about for the PS Vita? I'd like to see a remake of Freedom Wars. Maybe improve the battle mechanics and the controls, because even though the game is not that old, it kind of feels clunky and a little bit dated, the controls in Freedom Wars, and that's an exclusive on the Vita. I'd like to see remade. PSP, I have a lot. Fate Extra, it's already getting a remake, I know, it's been announced, but that was 3 fucking years ago. What's going on in there? Type Moon Studios, what the hell is going on? Where's my Fate Extra remake, goddammit? But I think the most obvious answer, well, no. I'd like to say Trails in the Sky, but it's not an exclusive. It's also on Steam and the PS Vita. Believe it or not, just the PS Vita version never came out of motherfucking Japan. Ragnarok Tactics, Hexis Force, those 2 games. I own Ragnarok Tactics. I don't have a copy of Hexis Force, but I can emulate it anytime. But yeah, those two games could easily benefit from a remaster or a remake even. Ragnarok Tactics doesn't need a remake, just a remaster. Are you looking forward to Final Sonic Frontiers? No, I don't care about Sonic, man. You ask that question every stream. I don't care about Sonic. So no, I'm not looking forward to anything from Sonic. What do you think of anime fighters? Oh, okay, the genre itself. I thought it was a game called Anime Fighters. Which one is your favorite? I think Blaze Blue is my favorite. I mean, I'd like to say Persona 4 Arena, but that's a JRPG fighter, right? Or if that counts, then by all means, Persona 4 Arena 1 and 2 are my favorite fighting games of all time, accompanied by Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle, which also coincidentally features Persona 4 Arena characters. I'd love to play Fear and Hunger. I'd love to play it, man, but it's on Steam. I'd love that game to come to consoles, but the best we can hope for is a Switch release. Sony will probably censor it. Yeah, I'd love to play Fear and Hunger. Termina? I don't know anything Termina unless you're talking about the Chrono Cross town, which I'm pretty sure you aren't. Favorite video game soundtracks? Oh, my favorite video game soundtracks. My favorite video game soundtrack of all time is Chrono Cross. Chrono Trigger is up there as well. Shin Megami Tensei 4 Apocalypse. Phantasy Star 4. Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9. Eternal Poison. Legend of Mana. Holy shit, Legend of Mana. Man. The original Shin Megami Tensei 4. Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne. Devil Survivor 1 and 2. Ys. The Ys series. The rearrangement on the remake of Ys 1 and 2 on the PSP. Fucking badass, man. I love them. Ys 8. Naturally, Ys 8 and 9 are among my favorites. Yeah, nothing but Squaresoft, Atlus, and Falcom, as you can see. What do you think about the recent announcement that Suikoden 1 and 2 remasters are being delayed into 2024? I knew it. All Konami wants to do is compete against Eiyuden Chronicle. So of course, nobody's going to release anything until someone releases anything first. So first we'll get Eiyuden Chronicle, maybe, and then the Suikoden remasters. I guarantee that's what's gonna happen. Bad music in a game can be a deal breaker for me. Oh yeah, Final Fantasy X too. Well, the soundtrack itself is not that bad, but I mean, just these characters and that idle fucking music, man. Omega Quintet, same. Yeah. You know what game has bad music? Spellcaster on the Master System. That's pretty bad. Whenever you enter a town and start solving a puzzle. Man. What will be your dream crossover game? A true Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem crossover. That will be my perfect crossover, not the fucking piece of shit that came out called Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Fuck that game, man. I want dark as fuck Shin Megami Tensei crossover with Fire Emblem. But you know what? Forget about Fire Emblem. Shin Megami Tensei and Dead End Request. How about that, huh? How about Breath of Fire and Wild Arms? Suikoden and Wild Arms. That sounds weird, but I mean it could work. Suikoden and Fire Emblem, I think my definitive answer to that question, my perfect crossover will be Fire Emblem and Suikoden. Because those are my two favorite video game series of all time. So there you go. How about Tales? Tales and Trails. Kiseki and Tales, man, that's awesome. But I'm sticking with Suikoden and Fire Emblem because they're very similar. They just have different battle mechanics, but they're very similar. I mean, Fire Emblem and Suikoden, man, that's fuck, man. Suikoden lore or Trails lore? Suikoden lore, definitely. I made a video for my second channel about which JRPG has the best lore, and Suikoden was my pick. How about this crossover, Persona 5 and Blue Dragon? That was totally random as my SMT and Dead End Request. But mine was less random because both series are dark as hell. Persona 5 and Blue Dragon. Shin Megami Tensei 4 and Final Fantasy 8. Come on, guys, you're going apeshit in here. How about this? You can't beat this. Code Vein and Rhapsody: A Musical Adventure. Can it get even more insane than that? God Eater, Shin Megami Tensei, that could work. Trails in the Sky and Dark Souls. That's I don't know. Shin Megami Tensei and Atelier. A Code Vein and Atelier. Oh, Souls. Bloodborne and Atelier. I want that crossover, man. I want that fucking crossover to happen. A crossover between Bloodborne and the Atelier series. Imagine Atelier Souls, man. You go around, I mean, it's gonna happen, man. It's fucking happening. It's probably not an Atelier Souls game, but I'm pretty sure there's gotta be already out there something, or it will be in the future, a game with a cute, sparkling, colorful world and girl as the main character, and the battle system is Souls-like. I'm not kidding, this isn't sarcasm, I'm pretty fucking sure it's already happened, or it will happen. Is Rhapsody: A Musical Adventure a good game? Yes it is, but you gotta play it with an open mind. You gotta play it preparing yourself that you're gonna play a cheesy, very cheesy game, girly, and colorful and dumb, comedic. It's funny, with great music, by the way. So if you keep that in mind, you'll enjoy it. But don't expect playing Rhapsody and expecting it to be Grandia or Breath of Fire or Shin Megami Tensei. I mean, just no, man. Isn't Little Witch Nobeta kind of like that? Yeah, but if you... I mean, first of all, it's just very different. It's not a hack and slash game, and it's far easier than the Souls games. You know, I kind of want... I mean, Nobeta, it's also a third-person shooter. I mean, you're right. Little Witch Nobeta, which I own, by the way. It's easy like that, but I want, you know, like a hack and slash, like, you know, like identical to Souls, not inspired by, like identical, just with a colorful scenario and a sparkling girl, you know, stupid dumbass 12-year-old loli, you know, like that, but hack and slash, you know, or with an axe, with a spear. I don't know. Identical to Souls. It doesn't matter. I'm not gonna play it. Since you like Fire Emblem, do you watch Josh Scorcher? Never. I don't know who that is. I keep hearing Final Fantasy 16 is good. Is it that good? Well, I keep hearing it's bad. So I was gonna ask people, is it that bad? Like any Final Fantasy game, it's pretty divisive, and I haven't played it. I bought Dead End Request long time ago, but your recommendation got me to play them. Some of my favorite JRPGs. That's awesome, man. I still can't get my hands on the second one. I have it digital on both the Switch and PS4, but not physical. And I'm fucking... That's my most sought after video game right now. Well, alongside Fire Emblem Engage. But Fire Emblem Engage is not going anywhere. I just need to be patient for the price to be right. Did you play Harvestella? No, I didn't. I've been hearing Starfield is pretty awful. Is it even out yet? I don't really care for it. Grand Theft Auto and Yakuza? That will be the perfect crossover. I mean, they are a ripoff of one another. Huh. Interesting. So Final Fantasy 16 is good if you like Game of Thrones. Well, nobody's making a comment on this music right now. It's not Persona. This song is so bad, it's good. Can you guys guess it? This is from this Gaia 5. Yeah, that's the base theme, the castle theme from this Gaia 5. It's pretty bad. It's so bad, it's good. I love it. Yeah, this Gaia 5. Are you into farming, sim, RPG crossovers like Rune Factory? Not really, but I'd like to get into. I really liked Sakuna of Rise and Ruin, so maybe that's gonna be my gateway into Rune Factory. Too much grinding in these Gaia games for me. Same for me, man. That's why I don't really... I'm not the biggest fan of them. I'm interested in this Gaia 7, though. Project Cross Zone 3 could be at the Smash Bros. For RPGs. For the new Switch. I don't care. All I want is the game to exist. I want Monolith Soft to develop Project Cross Zone 3. Please. Who do I beg? How do I get in touch with Takahashi, man? Call him and say, Tetsuya, Mr. Tetsuya Takahashi, please develop that fucking game for me. Please. Have there been any songs from any games you wanted to learn how to play? Oh yeah! But I can't, you know, it's just... A lot of my favorite JRPG songs are very difficult, full of solos, difficult solos. And there's a big difference between Japanese metal or rock music to the Western music, right? I mean, it's very different. I watched this interview with the ex-guitarist of Megadeth. He lives in Japan. He's been living there for many, many years. And he said that learning the music, the guitar scene in Japan and the way they play and the notes and the melodies and the harmonics, you know, are very different from the Western ones. I mean, it's just very different. But I love to. I know a few songs. I'm trying to learn the Battle Theme 7 from Shin Megami Tensei 5, which is kind of easy, but the alternate picking kills me. I'm like I can't do that, man. It's so hard. Marty Friedman, thanks, man. Yeah, that guy. And it's just very difficult, you know. I tried learning Sunshine Coastline. Holy shit, it's impossible, man. I'm more of a rhythm guy, and Japanese songs are not more based on solos and, you know, and these crazy ass harmonics and melodies and notes that I find them pretty hard. But I'd love to learn more JRPG music, man. And maybe one day make videos about that. Can anybody guess this song? Sounds kinda idol-ish. Neptunia? What the hell is this, man? It's kinda dancey. This is from Neptunia? I accidentally added a Hyperdimension Neptunia song? Seriously? Yeah, it kinda sounds like Streets of Rage, but it isn't. I'm pretty sure I didn't add anything from Streets of Rage. No, Soul Hackers 2, no. This is the Neptunia dungeon theme? Wow. Thanks, Caden. See you later. Well, whatever. It's an okay song. It's okay. I like it. It's forgettable, but I like it. No, in fact, it's not forgettable. I actually like it a lot now. I mean, where is this from? Should I play .hackgu? Hell yeah! Like, what are you waiting for, man? That's a masterpiece. Masterpiece. I love that game. I'm a massive fan of that game, man. Of the entire trilogy. Yes, do yourself a favor and play it. People are saying this from Neptunia, but I don't know. It's over. This is a game from Namco Cross Capcom. We already listened to this. Well, it's repeating, whatever. Do you recommend Monochrome Mobius? Guess what? I'm about to publish my review next Tuesday, in 2 days. So wait for it, and you'll hear everything you need to know about the game. She's got a PS1, what should I start with? You, my friend, should start with Chrono Cross, the best RPG on the PlayStation 1. You can also start with the Final Fantasy games. 7 and 9 are pretty good. 8, very hard to get into. But yeah, Chrono Cross. Yeah, the remaster of .hackgu is pretty darn cheap still, man. It's like $10. You got it for $7. That's awesome. I think I got my copy for, yeah, for $10. Was it in Canada? Yeah, pretty cheap. Dirt cheap. Start with Suikoden 1 and 2, but the remasters are coming, right? Do you think we'll ever see a Final Fantasy IX remake? Yes, I'm pretty sure. I'm just not sure if it's gonna be a turn-based RPG or an action RPG. Hopefully it's a turn-based RPG. But yeah, the remake is happening no matter what. Maybe in 3 years. But I hope Dragon Quest 12 comes out first. You know what? You know what Dragon Quest 12 should be like? It should be like Kuro no Kiseki. That way you get to please everybody. You know? Turn-based and action. And optional. If you want action, change to action. If you want turn-based, change to turn-based. That's what Kuro no Kiseki did. Why can't you fucking do that, Square Enix? That's what Final Fantasy VII Remake should have been like. Imagine a Project Cross-Own type crossover with Erick's novels. I thought about that, you know. I mean, which characters would be pairs? I mean, Lucius and Nyx as a pair. Madeline and Vice. Oh man, I'd love to do that. I mean, Alice? What about Alice? Alice will probably be a summonable character. She wouldn't be a pair, because she hates everybody. So she will be, you know, like the character you summon in battle. Right? Making a powerful, badass special attack. And she will say something like, what does she say? There was a cheesy catchphrase that I used in the book. Something like I'm gonna fucking kill you, bitch, or something like that. That would be amazing, man. I'll kill you, you fucking bitch. Oh, but most of the pairs will come from the Revenant Army and Terra Gaiden. Who will you pair up Laura and Silverrain with? With Venus? With Thomas? Nah. Thomas and Corman, Gale Corman. Or Orion Marcel with Sonia? Oh, no, with Jimena. I mean, he has to be with Jimena. By the way, if you don't know how to pronounce the names of the characters in the Revenant Army, let me know. Orion. The princess is Jimena. That's a Spanish name. Jimena, it's not Xaimina or Ximena. No, it's Jimena. Jimena. Princess Jimena. Sonia is Sonia. Rex is Rex. Who else is there? Anyway, what do you think of Kudelka? I really wanted to like that game, but the gameplay mechanics ruined it. The tank controls, the random encounters, the battle interface. It just didn't work, man. But the idea was awesome. I do hope to see a remake of Kudelka one day, or a game similar to it. Which JRPG games are you looking forward to? Sounds like you missed my latest top 10. It was a top 15 from 2 days ago. Go and watch it. Is it true that Sakaguchi became depressed for some years after the failure of the Final Fantasy movie? I've never heard anything about that, so I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know, man. As long as you learn the GF abilities in the right order and use the card ability to kill monsters in early stages, Final Fantasy VIII is actually pretty easy. Okay. What do you think of... okay, I answered that already. Do you know what the hell is happening with the Dragon Quest III remake? No, there are rumors around it that Square Enix just keeps putting it on hold to focus on other projects, such as the Final Fantasy VII remake, Final Fantasy XVI, Dragon Quest XII, blah blah blah. And now they're releasing a bunch of Dragon Quest spin-offs. You know, Dragon Quest Dai is coming soon in like 2 weeks, and then Dragon Quest Monsters on December. So perhaps they need to refocus their attention on projects that have more priority, like the Dragon Quest III remake. Have you tried Lisa the Painful yet? No, what's that? People have asked me about that before, and I remember looking it up on Google once. Lisa the Painful. Oh, it's an RPG Maker video game. But it's for PC only, man. It's not on consoles. And I don't care for it. This is from... Can you guess this song? Most of you probably won't. Someone did. That's right, this is from Ark the Lab. That's solo right there, man. Yeah, it's one of the many battle themes from Ark the Lab. Patron? What do you mean Patron? Man, I'm not a patron. Did you have the opportunity to try Lost Kingdoms? I'm a big fan of the game, I own it. Amazing game. The sequel, not so much. But the first game is pretty good. Pretty unique RPG, you're right. You play as this princess and you use the cards to execute an attack, like a hack and slash attack or a magic attack, or you can summon monsters to aid you in battle. I love that game, man. Langrisser 4 is one of my favorite games in the Langrisser series. I've never played it, man. It's only in Japan. Since Kadokawa Games released the remakes of the first 2 games, I really hope they do the same for Langrisser 3 and 4, which stayed in Japan. Which JRPG game will you suggest PlayStation should consider to be the next PS Monthly game? What's a PS Monthly game? They choose one on the PlayStation Store or something? Maybe they should choose Monochrome Mobius. Ah. Patron. Oh, okay. You call me Patron? Come on. Okay. Shit. Man. Final Fantasy VIII, the remake, the soundtrack is pretty damn good. Alright, last questions, guys, and thank you to everybody who donated. Hope you guys are still watching. 90 people watching. Yep. No more questions. Yeah, Square Enix is milking the Dragon Quest franchise, just like Atlas is milking the Persona franchise. A hell of a lot. A lot, man. I haven't played another Crusade. I'm not going to review it because the guy wouldn't give me a review code. He said he wanted to give me a review code for Steam, and I told him, I don't play on Steam, can you give me a review code on PS4 or Switch? Oh no, those are handled by the publisher. What, you are the creator of the game and you can't ask the publisher to send me a review? I mean, I'm not gonna review another Crusade, man. Oh, this is the last song. This is Lady Crimson from Knights of Azure. Do you recommend? Do you recommend start the PS2? We start with PS3's Nier Automata. You can start with either, but I recommend starting with PS3 or Replicant. It's remastered on PS4. That's it, guys. I gotta go now. Yeah. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much to everybody who donated. If you want to listen to my private podcast, you can do so by clicking on the link in the description, which leads you to my Patreon. If you're interested in my books, check them out. There's a link in the description to all of them on Amazon, physical and digital. If you want to read them on your ebook reader or whatever, your Kindle, whatever, you can read them. If you want to buy them and collect them, you can do the same. Link in the description.